Hey everyone, I am Courtney Picou, and this is the Reconnection Blueprint Show, where we share practical tools and strategies to help you identify and let go of limitations, hear God's voice for your life, and embrace empowered living, not only for you, but your family, cities, and nations. And today, I'm so honored and blessed to have the vibrant and most inspiring, most awesomest business coach I've ever met, Tara Oldridge.
Woo!
Guys, I just want to share with you, I'm so excited to have her on the show. She's been such an inspiration to me. One of the biggest things that she's done is she's the creator of Vision to Business, which is actually how we even officially met. And that is a space where she basically has a 2-day workshop in which you come in and you get very clear on what your vision is, and then she helps you take committed action to turn it into a profitable, powerful, and impactful business. And not only that, she's also part, I think it's the top 20 podcasts right now, the Smart Woman Show, that's something that I listen to almost every day. So Tara, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the reminder of how badass I am.
Yes, girl. Yes, you are. One of the things that I really just wanted to, there's so many reasons why I have you on this show outside of you been such an inspiration to me and to, people around me. But just like for such a time as this, like there's nobody else that I think I would rather have on my show right now just to speak to the empowerment of what we are facing in our country these days and what we get to step up and do. Like now it's the time to have clear vision and taking actionable steps. So it's such an honor and privilege for you to be here. And I was I was hoping you could just share with everyone, a little bit of your story and how you kind of came to all of this.
Wow. Okay. So a little bit of my story. Everybody has a story, and it's funny when you immerse yourself in personal development and leadership and really advancing and then leveling up and maxing out and all these things that leaders and motivational and inspirational and the influencers of the world are talking about. You really detach from your story. And so I had a call yesterday of a woman who wanted me to be on her show as well. And she goes, "Can you tell me your story?" It's like, the story. And it's really interesting how I used to use my story to manipulate, to bring people, to feel sorry for me or to really affirm a point in an agenda that I had in creating. And now I'm really so proud of myself that I've gotten to a point where I'm like, who wants to hear my story? Like, that's boring. And that's so in the past, like that's so yesterday's news. And I also realize as a top influencer, it's really important that we connect with our story to support people in getting past where they're at. Because a lot of times we spin our wheels. We're like hamsters, right? Especially in what we like to call the drift. Right? There's the people who are conscious and aware and awake. And then there's the people who are in the drift. They're just floating down the river, trying to grab onto sticks, let go of the stick because it gets too hard. It's one of those things. And so thank you for asking me about my story. I'll sum it up very quickly because my story really, I'm very grateful for the struggles that I had in my life. I sourced parents who were very young, very unconscious, a little bit irresponsible, beautiful hearts. Both of my parents had beautiful hearts of gold and have beautiful hearts of gold. And they loved me very much, but they just weren't aware. I was having a conversation with my dad yesterday and he said, "Tara," because I was talking to him about my kids, Cooper, and where Cooper's at and how I actually just pulled Cooper out of a school, a very high profile school, very expensive, quote unquote, Ivy League school for young children. They mold and create Ivy League school students. That's their mission and goal in life. And I pulled him out, and it's a very hard decision to make because this is supposed to be a top school. And he was just commending me. And he's like, I'm so proud of you for being so aware. He's like, when you were little, we didn't care how you felt. We just dropped you at a daycare, dropped you at a babysitter's. You know, my parents did the best they could with what they had, but they were unconscious. And a lot of people in this world are unconscious today. And so my story is I sourced parents that were unconscious, unaware. And so through this, I got to be sexually molested. I got to be privy to drugs and alcohol abuse at a very young age. Addiction was very, very prevalent throughout my life. I was bullied, I grew up in a very small town, and I've always been effervescent. I've always been a bright light. I've always been vibrant. And that didn't fit in the town that I chose to be created in. And so I got beat up a lot. I was running from gangs. I was involved in gangs, not even knowing I was involved in a gang. You know, I was around crack cocaine, all of these crazy things in my life that happened. And thank the Lord for carrying me during these times. And what ended up happening was I ended up running away. I picked a boyfriend who was going to abuse me to the point where I needed to run away. And I ran away on cruise ships. And I took all of this anger, resentment, hostility, and I drove it into becoming a top performer as an art auctioneer on cruise ships. And I slayed. I kicked butt. I was doing over $1 million at one point in revenue every single month, turning over art, speaking on stages. You know, I was hosting 3 seminars and 3 art auctions a week. I was just doing phenomenal work, and I was selling my soul to the enemy. You know, I was trying to fill my voids, fill my gaps with relationships and men. And, you know, my husband and I laugh about it, because what else can you do but laugh? You know, he said, you had a revolving door on your cabin on the cruise ship. And I totally did, because I was looking for comfort, and I wasn't finding that in the Father at the time. And I ended up getting off cruise ships and meeting my husband and having a son who I loved my son very much, Court. But at the end of the day, I was like, is this it? Is this it for me? Now I'm just a mom. And I started to resent my husband, who's very successful, and living out his true passion and his desire to make the earth and planet a greener place by promoting and developing and engineering electric transportation. And I was just a mom, and it wasn't enough for me. And what was coming in the background was, shouldn't you just be grateful, Tara? That's what I would say when I looked in the mirror. Shouldn't I just be grateful for this life? You're so blessed. What are you complaining about? And it was that little light inside of me that was screaming at me, please let me out, I just want to shine. And so piece by piece, day by day, I evolved. I started walking in the direction of evolving myself, and it didn't happen overnight. Yes, big things happened in short amounts of time, and it took me, 2 years to get to where I am today. And it's every day, all day drive to becoming the highest version of myself, to becoming all that I was created to be, which is fearfully and wonderfully made.
That's good. I like how you said not staying so attached to your story. It totally makes sense. Like, I guess maybe I get to work a little bit on how I'm going to ask it, but it's more or less of what was like that pivotal moment that just shifted where, I'm sitting in limitation or drift, and okay, no, I'm called to more. So I think part of one of the biggest limitations is complacency being disguised as contentment.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like the disguise of it, that's a limitation in and of itself. We're not called to live in complacency, which I think that's probably part of the drift, as I'm starting to understand it even more. I am reading that book. So from Michael Strasberg. So anybody wanting mastering leadership, by all means, go for it. I guess one of the things that I'm really curious about is, what was that moment that really kind of led to vision to business? Like you creating that, you like taking it, because it's shifted my life, it's shifted my best friend's life. It's affected our families here. It's affected the state of Louisiana, whether anyone in the state of Louisiana has recognized it yet. It's kind of like revival. It's already happened. You don't even know that you're in the middle of it, but that's exactly what's going on. So like, what was that moment? And then let's kind of dive in a little bit to vision of business, because I'm really passionate about that.
Yeah, and you don't know this yet. Court, you got to come to my very first Vision to Business, and you got to come to the last Vision to Business, which were totally different. I mean, same concept, same material, and 6 times the size.
Yeah, it was complete. I mean, you got to handle it differently.
Yeah. So there were many moments where I looked in the mirror and knew that I was made for more. And I think that anybody who's coming to your show, watching your show, knows they're made for more. You know you're made for more. Here's the tricky part about discovering that. And this happens for everyone. And that's why I have my business, because I know you have this moment. I know this moment comes to you where you're like, okay, I know I'm made for more. Now what? Now what? And what happens is if you don't know now what right away, your ego, your mind, the enemy, whatever you want to call it, starts talking you out of it. All the reasons why you're not made for more, all the reasons why you couldn't, you can't, you shouldn't, you wouldn't, all the things. And so I'm just like you. Like, I'm no different than you. I had those moments, and I had them for years, until one day I decided, okay, I know I'm made for more. And I should preface that I've always had a vision of me being on stages. And it looked different. I mean, when I was on the ships doing art auctions, I was actually on a stage that I was creating. Now I was talking about art, and I was doing 1, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, and 75 and 2, the big 2 1/2 and 3. And so it's not exactly what God was calling me to do, but it was preparing me for today. And that's why if you're stuck in your story today, just know that was preparing you for now. Now, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
How are you shifting now? Who are you being today? And today, if you were like me 2 years ago, being like, oh, I know I'm meant for more, but I don't know what to do. Who are you being in this moment to propel something forward? And I guarantee you, it's exactly who I needed to be, who I got to be, who I was, which is courageous. Courageous and confident. Now, here's the thing. I actually hired a business coach. I went to an event and I hired a business coach. And I sat down with that business coach and I told her, because she goes, what do you want? I said, I want to host live events. I want to impact women's lives. I want women to know that they don't need to be complacent. They don't need to be okay with just what they have. They don't need to feel like, oh, you should just be grateful for what you have, because isn't this enough? Like, who do you think you are for wanting more? I want to impact those women's lives, I told her. She's like, great, then host those events. I said, I want to have live events. I have a vision of me on a stage. She's like, great, then create your own stage. And so I did. And it started with 10 women. And then I was looking around the room, and it really wasn't until Vision to Business 2 Court that I realized that I had a method that I was teaching that I didn't even realize I was teaching. And that method is called the power of 10. I mean, I made high 6 figures last year, high 6 figures from operating from the power of 10, helping 10 women at a time get what they want. My whole business is operated from just 10 at a time, 10 at a time. Focusing on 10. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Here's the action plan. And that's what Vision to Business is. Now, Vision to Business 3 had 60 women enrolled. I think we had about 48 women show up, which is great numbers. And so now I'm impacting at greater numbers, but it starts with 10. It starts with 10. And so the moment that I realized, sitting down with my business coach, she said to me, all right, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to host an event. You're going to invite 10 people. You're going to sell tickets on this end, and da-da-da-da. And she walked me through the whole thing. And she goes, so what's going to stop you? And I said, what if no one shows up? What if no one comes? And you came, right, Court? You were there for this one. You came
all the way from Louisiana, girl.
All the way from Louisiana for my first event. And so this is a great opportunity, actually. Why did you come?
I wanted more, and I needed to. I got to step out and do something like that I never would have done before. I got to take a risk on myself. I let go of the safety net, and I mean, it's kind of what you have always spoken to me. Like, it's time for you to get your ass on the line. It's Time for you to get your
Yeah.
ass on the line.
Get your ass on the line.
And yeah, and that was my first step. That was my first moment of putting my ass on the line. Pretty much.
Yeah. And so I said,
I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, you have. And you stepped into it. You know, you've been driving. And so, and it was the same thing with my coach at the time. You know, I said, I'm not confident. She goes, okay, well, stop. This was a really pivotal moment. Can you still hear me, Court? Can you still hear me? Because you're freezing on my end.
Yeah. You're good now.
Okay, great. And so she said to me, my business coach, I said, I'm not confident that people are going to show up, that I'll be able to deliver all the things, right? And she goes, well, you can kiss confidence goodbye. Confidence isn't showing up on your door. It's not going to come to you before you do the event. Confidence comes after the event. You get your confidence after you're courageous. Confidence is the byproduct of courage. You got to step into your fear. Yeah, write that down and then send it back to me. That's gold.
I'm like, oh, that's a post right there. Confidence.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Confidence is the byproduct of courage. You don't get confidence until you have the courage to be courageous. And so you get to be scared. You get to be scared because that's what leaders do. Leaders stand under the sign that says, don't stand here. We stand there.
That's good. You know, I like that you said, like, we get to be scared. Will you please clarify for everyone the difference, your definition of how you define the difference between being scared and being fearful?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, for me, they're kind of one and the same. Being fearful, being scared, being apprehensive, being mediocre, it's really all lumped into one. And here's what I would offer and invite you to do when you feel that, oh, I don't know if I could, like, oh, I don't know if this is possible, like, oh, who's going to take me seriously, and what's my husband going to think, or my wife going to think, or my parents going to think, or my Uncle Sue going to think, or my fifth cousin's Megan, or whatever, right? I get it. And what I would offer you around this fear thing is learn to embrace it. Learn to accept it. And I speak about this really on every interview that I do. If you're not nervous, scared, fearful, you're not really doing anything. You're not really doing anything. You're not really being a stand for anything. You're just operating within the confinements of what is comfortable for you.
That's good. That's good.
And that's not, you're already doing that. And so now actually how I operate my life, if I'm feeling like, oh, this is good, this is easy, I quickly snap out of that and go, okay, my next level, how do I know where my next level is? Where am I scared? Where does it feel stretchy to go? And I go and I do that because now I'm trained. I've trained myself to look for that. So fear is not a bad thing. No. Fear is an indicator of where you get to go.
That's good. Fear is not a bad thing. It's an indicator of where you get to go.
Yeah.
Because if you don't ever face that fear, how is it said, what you resist persists.
Yes.
Like, it's just going to keep showing up. It's going to keep showing up. That's probably one of them, especially in this time and like what's going on right now with everything in our country. Like, it's not to step into to isolate in the fear. Mm-hmm. It's okay, where do I get to go? And not get caught up in how it's supposed to look. But yeah, what's stretchy for me right now?
Mm-hmm. And then do that.
Exactly. That's, yeah. I really want to honor our time. And, do you have anything you want to share about the next vision of business? Because I'm like super excited about it.
Yes, I would love. Okay, so normally when I do interviews, I will do like like an early bird special, but because you're so near and dear to me, Court, I am going to actually give your audience a special, super special price ticket. I don't know what that's going to look like because I haven't designed it yet. But I'll send you the link and get Christina to send you the link for your guests.
Okay.
It'll be under $100, which you paid $3,000 to come to Vision to Business, didn't you?
I sure did. I put my ass on the line for it.
Yeah, you did.
Here we are. I'm doing an interview series. Never would have seen that one coming. What was that, 6 months ago? July? Almost a year. So people, I mean, I'm just saying, if you're looking to step out and stretch a little bit, Vision to Business. California's not that far away. Trust me. Just to kind of leave the audience with something like, what is a practical tool or attribute or something that you attribute to your success that you've had? Like, what's something that you do in your daily life that you feel
Pray. I don't know if it's practical. Sometimes it feels hard.
Ooh.
And you know what? He provides, and he wants to know your heart. He wants to know what's going on. He wants to know there's nothing too small for him. There's nothing that's happening in my business, with my clients, with my husband, with my children, with my own deep thoughts that he doesn't want to hear about. And so talk to your creator. Whatever that looks like for you, talk to your creator. He wants to know you.
What a perfect way to wrap it up. Just pray. Man, I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately. So, Tara, thank you so much for the time that you've taken to do this interview and to inspire the audience, and just for everything that you've created and you've inspired, not just with me, with people around me, with our entire community, because I feel like our community is like one of the most powerful, inspiring women community that's like changing the face of this globe. And I really feel, I really feel that way.
I know you do.
So thank you so much. Man, Vision of Business, y'all, it's coming up soon. I think it's June?
Yeah, we're with everything that's happening right now, we're still tentative on the dates, but we're aiming for June.
Okay, everybody stay tuned. As we get more information, we'll put all that information on the website. And thank you so much for joining us. Join us for our next interview coming up. We've got groovy stuff. Stay connected. It's all about connection, getting into alignment with ourselves, and embracing empowered living, because you were called to more, just like I was called to more. So until next time.